The traditional church had Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John on their side. But the Gnostics claimed to have the support of Mary Magdalene herself. For centuries, Christians believed that there were only 4 Gospels that revealed the life and message of Jesus of Nazareth. But that belief changed in the late 1800s with the discovery of the first lost Gospels. One of the most compelling of these forgotten scriptures was discovered in Egypt in 1896. A gospel with a very surprising author.
It is a gospel written in the name of a woman. And not just any woman, but apparently Mary Magdalene. And not the Mary Magdalene who has a role in the church, who is the repentant whore and so forth. This is Mary Magdalene, who is a beloved disciple. She's a part of the inner circle.
Only a few fragments survive, but they put into sharp focus Mary's true significance. If the Gospel of Mary is authentic, it means that women were once powerful leaders in the Christian church. It means that Mary Magdalene was not a reformed prostitute, but the leader of the apostles. And in a religion dominated for centuries by men, it means the most important gospel was written in the name of a woman. The Gospel of Mary details the secret instructions that Jesus tells only to Mary, secrets about life, death, and heaven.
In this gospel, Jesus reveals certain things about the afterlife to Mary in very Gnostic kinds of terms.
The afterlife in the 4 traditional Gospels is described as a blissful paradise. But in the Gospel of Mary, the afterlife involves a strange journey of the soul after death, in which the dead person encounters angelic and demonic beings as the soul makes its way to heaven. It is only to Mary that Jesus reveals this secret journey of the soul. The Gospel reports that Peter, the leader of the apostles, reacts explosively to this revelation. Peter says, "Did he really speak with a woman without our knowledge? Are we to turn about and all listen to her? Did he prefer her to us?" In the Gospel, the apostles override Peter's denunciation and support Mary, saying, "If the Savior made her worthy, who are you indeed to reject her?"
What is significant is that there was a spiritual kind of bond, that Mary was thought to be a person of insight, a leader, somebody who had an ability to motivate others, and that was her real gift. She understood the mind of Jesus and was able to communicate that. This is a gospel that gives a very different kind of view of what the message of Jesus is, and gives Mary Magdalene as the one who understands that point of view in a way that the other disciples did not.
But is this text a real gospel? The eyewitness account of Mary Magdalene? If so, it might change Christian history and revolutionize the role of women in the Christian church. The key lies in the Gospel's age. Is it older than the 4 traditional Gospels? And could it have been written by Mary Magdalene herself? The Gospel of Mary was first discovered in 1896 in Akhmin, Egypt. Carbon dating reveals this text was hand-copied in the 5th century. But over the years, fragments of the Gospel of Mary have emerged elsewhere in Egypt, and they are much older. New breakthroughs in technology can help refine the exact date of even the smallest fragments of ancient text. Using the 3D microscope allows scientists to focus on the details that provide clues to its age. At this level of detail, a modern sample of papyrus bears no resemblance to an ancient text.
If this were 2,000 years old, the surface would not be so shiny. It would be more matte because fibers would be worn and creating a sort of a nap to the surface, almost like suede.
Tests like these help provide a very precise date for the oldest fragments of the Gospel of Mary. They were written approximately 200 AD. The language and vocabulary also suggest that the Gospel of Mary was written during the 2nd century and not during the time of Jesus. Thus, it is highly unlikely that Mary Magdalene wrote the Gospel that bears her name. Most scholars believe it was created by a Gnostic Christian during the 2nd century, who wanted to invoke the authority of the female apostle.
We don't know who the author was, but many would imagine that there really is a woman's voice and a woman's perspective that is to be seen here. And it may be the case that finally there is a voice that is heard that is stifled in the other Gospels.
Perhaps more importantly, the Gospel of Mary reveals a power struggle in the early church about the role of women.
The whole idea of leadership of women is, I think, a very exciting thing to look at in this early Christian history. And the Gospel of Mary is a kind of a testimony to that.
The fact that Mary is a leader and a woman is a revolutionary concept in the early church.
The fact that there can be a Gospel of Mary indicates something of the fact that there were, in fact, folks like the Gnostics who are much more open to the inclusion of women as full members of the community. In fact, some of the people in the emerging Orthodox Church complained about this. You mean there are some women that are administering the sacraments? There are women that are ordained among these Gnostics? Shame on them. The Gnostics saw no shame in that. And so for there to be a text like a Gospel of Mary is perfectly in line with a Gnostic point of view.
If the Gospel of Mary reveals the Gnostics' view on women, another Gnostic Gospel claims to present the account of Peter, head of the apostles, and it is said to reveal the secret about what really happened at the resurrection of Jesus.